Welcome back to the deep dive.
Here.
If you're with us, you are probably someone who's really serious about learning English, which means, you've likely put in the hours, you know the grammar rules,
Yeah.
you've built up a pretty decent vocabulary stack,
Absolutely. You've got the building blocks.
but then you hit this point, right?
Yeah.
Especially when you try to speak a bit faster, maybe in a real conversation. And there's this kind of barrier.
Yeah.
You might be saying everything correctly, technically, but it still sounds a little, I don't know, choppy.
Stiff, maybe.
Yeah, exactly. Like a robot reading out words with perfect spaces between them.
That exact feeling, that choppiness, that's what we're really digging into today.
Okay.
Our mission, looking at the sources you pulled together for this deep dive, is to kind of pull back the curtain on the specific tricks, maybe. Or let's call them efficiency shortcuts.
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah.
Efficiency shortcuts.
Yeah, the things that create that really natural, smooth English flow. And importantly, this isn't about just speaking faster. It's about sounding connected, confident. And that comes down to things like linking sounds, reducing sounds, using rhythm, tone.
Okay, let's unpack that, because I think the core idea, and it seems like all our sources really hit on this, is that native English speakers are, well, kind of lazy.
Ah. Linguistically lazy, yes. That's a good way to put it.
In a good way. They don't want to put in unnecessary effort between words. It feels like too much work.
Exactly. That's the root of what we can call the connected speech rule.
Right.
If you actually try to pronounce every single word perfectly separately.
Like the robot voice we mentioned.
Precisely. You're constantly stopping and starting your airflow. And that's what creates that forced, unnatural sound. It's just inefficient.
The proof is right there, isn't it? In those basic examples we looked at. Like, what are you doing?
Right. If you say every sound super clearly, what are you doing? It sounds strange in a normal chat.
Yeah, nobody talks like that.
No, it just naturally smooths out, collapses into something like, what you doing?
What you doing, yeah. Or the other classic one, I am going to.
Oh, yeah. You almost never hear the full, crisp, I am going to, like a relaxed conversation.
Never.
It instantly becomes, I'm going. Just one fluid sound.
I'm going.
And the key takeaway here, which the sources stress, is that this stuff, it's not just optional slang. It's actually part of the automatic, efficient way fluent speakers process the language.
Okay, so it's fundamental, not just informal fluff.
Pretty much, yeah. For sounding natural, anyway.
So let's figure out how this collapsing happens. If the goal is smooth airflow, keeping the engine running, like you said, we need to understand how words physically connect, how they crash into each other. And that's all about sound linking.
Exactly. Linking is the glue, and it seems to happen in three main ways based on the materials.
Okay.
The first, and probably the most common one, is when you have a word that ends with a consonant sound.
Like N or T or
Right.
K.
Right. And the very next word starts with a vowel sound, like A.
Okay. Consonant meets vowel. What happens?
Well, the consonant sound basically jumps over and kind of kickstarts the vowel sound in the next word. It bridges the gap.
Ah, okay. So it connects them.
Yeah. Look at turn off. The word turn ends with that N sound. Off starts with that vowel sound.
Right.
So instead of turn off with a little stop,
Pretty good.
turn off. The N hooks onto the O. Turn off. It just flows better. It's physically easier to say.
Turn off. Yeah, I can feel that. It's smoother. I love the other example too. Pick it up.
Oh, that's a great one.
If I try to say those three words really distinctly, pick up, it feels so stop-start.
Yeah, 3 little bursts of effort.
But a fluent speaker just rolls them together, and what you actually hear sounds more like pickied up.
Pikeyed up. Exactly. The K links to I. The T, which becomes a flap sound like a D, links to U. It's amazing how the mouth optimizes, isn't it?
It really is. So that's consonant to vowel. But what about the other way around, or rather, when two vowels meet? That seems like it would create a pause.
Yeah, vowel to vowel, like in go on. Or see, it got 2 vowel sounds right next to each other.
So how do you keep the air flowing there without a noticeable gap?
Ah, well, this is where the language gets clever. It often slips in these little invisible helper sounds. Glides, they're sometimes called.
Glides? Like what?
Usually a really soft E sound, like guy in yes, or a soft O sound, like W in we. They act as a bridge.
Okay, so give me an example. Go on.
Right. If you try to say, go on, you get that little hiccup between the O sound.
Yeah, tiny pause.
But naturally, we insert a tiny O sound, so it sounds like, go on.
Go one.
Ah.
I hear it now. Subtle.
Very subtle, but crucial for smoothness. Same with see it. You've got the E sound meeting the I sound. So often you'll hear a little E glide pop in. See it.
See it. Wow. Okay, that makes sense. It stops the vowels from clashing directly.
Exactly. It maintains that smooth, continuous flow that just sounds, well, native.
It's fascinating because it feels so counterintuitive to how we learn to read. We learn to respect the spaces between words.
Absolutely. Spoken language plays by different rules, efficiency rules.
Which brings us nicely to the third linking mechanism. And this one sounds like the absolute peak of that linguistic laziness you mentioned.
Probably is. This is linking similar sounds.
Okay, what happens there?
It's super simple, actually. If a word ends with a particular sound and the next word starts with the exact same sound, or sometimes a very similar one.
Like a big game. Both have G sound.
Perfect example. Big ends with G, game starts with G. You don't say the G sound twice, like big goo game.
Right, that'd be weird.
You just hold that G position slightly longer and release it once, smoothly flowing into the next word. So big game becomes kind of like big game.
Big game. One smooth sound.
Exactly. It avoids that awkward double articulation. Another good one is nice song.
Okay, is sound at the end of nice, sound at the start of song.
Yep. They just blend. You don't say nice song. It just flows. Nice song.
Nice song. Got it. So consonant vowel, vowel vowel with glides, and similar sounds merging. That covers the connections.
Those are the main pillars of linking, yeah.
But just knowing how to link words isn't the whole story, is it? Because sometimes parts of words, or even whole words, seem to just shrink or disappear.
Right. And that takes us squarely into the territory of reductions and the music of English.
Okay. And this is where I think a lot of learners get a bit nervous. Because reducing sounds, using gonna or wanna, it feels like slang.
A very common concern.
Like, is it unprofessional? If I use gonna in, say, a job interview or a more serious chat, am I going to sound sloppy? Is there a line?
That's a really important question. And the answer, well, it's nuanced, but the sources we looked at are pretty clear. Context matters, of course.
Okay.
Highly formal written English, yeah, you'd probably write going to. But in spoken English, even in many professional contexts, these reductions are absolutely fundamental.
Really? Even like gonna?
Yes. Avoiding them completely, especially in everyday conversation, can actually signal that you're maybe overthinking it, translating in your head. It can ironically make you sound less fluent.
So trying too hard to be correct can backfire.
It can, yeah. When you're relaxed and speaking naturally, you will use the big ones. Want to just becomes wanna.
Wanna.
Going to becomes gonna. And got to becomes gotta.
Gotta.
They're just standard features of spoken rhythm, not really optional if you want that natural sound.
Okay, let's maybe do a quick practice round then. Encourage listeners to say these out loud. Maybe let go of that internal grammar cop for a second.
Good idea.
All right, try this. I'm gonna take a break.
Feel how gonna is quicker, lighter than going to.
Yeah. Okay, next. Do you want to get coffee?
Wanna. Nice and smooth.
I gotta finish this report.
Gotta. It's efficient.
It's true. The moment you use those with a bit of confidence, it feels like your fluency level just jumps up a notch.
It really does impact perception. And if we zoom out a bit from these specific reductions, we start seeing the bigger system at play.
Which is?
Intonation and rhythm. This is where it all comes together. It's kind of the secret sauce for really smooth speech.
The music of English, someone called it?
That's a perfect way to think about it. Intonation, that rise and fall in your voice, that's the melody.
Right. Native speakers don't talk in a monotone. Their pitch goes up and down to show emotion, ask questions, emphasize things.
Exactly. But the reason we have things like linking and reduction often comes down to the underlying rhythm of the language.
Okay, this is crucial, I think. The sources really hammered this point. English has what they call a stress-timed rhythm.
Yes. This is fundamentally different from many other languages.
Like, say, Spanish or French. I think the sources mentioned those are often syllable-timed.
Correct. In syllable-timed languages, generally speaking, each syllable gets roughly the same amount of time, the same duration, like a steady beat. Da, 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 da.
But English isn't like that at all.
Not at all. English has a beat, yes. But the beat only falls on the most important words in the sentence, the words carrying the main meaning.
Content words, right?
Yeah,
Nouns,
yeah.
main verbs, adjectives, adverbs.
Exactly those. And this stress-timed nature is why linking and reduction are so necessary.
How so?
Because we have to rush through or weaken the less important words, the function words like As, to, of, and.
The grammatical glue words.
Precisely. We squish them down so we can land heavily on the important words, right on the beat. The speed and the stress are uneven. It's like boom, ba, boom.
Bum, ba, ba, ba.
Okay, I see. So the reductions make space for the stress.
You got it. Listen to that classic example again. I am going to the store.
Okay.
The really important information is going and store. Those need the stress.
Right. Where were you going? To the store.
So the little words I am to, they have to get weak and quick. So it sounds like, I'm going to go to the store.
I'm going to go to the store. The beat falls on go and store. Exactly. Going to reduces to gonna, partly because it's a function phrase, and it needs to be quick to allow store to get the main stress.
So those little function words are just linguistic padding almost. They're grammatically needed, but meaning-wise, they're secondary.
In terms of conveying the core message, yes. So they get squeezed and linked together.
That makes so much sense. And there was a really practical tip in the material for practicing this, wasn't there? Something physical.
Oh, yeah, the clapping or tapping thing. It's actually brilliant.
Tell us about that.
Try actually tapping your finger or clapping your hands on the stressed words as you say an English sentence.
Like tap, I'm tap, come tap, tell the tap. Wait, no, that's syllable timing.
Exactly. You tapped on everything. That's the robot.
Right, so it should be. I'm tap, gonna go to the tap.
There you go. I'm going to go to the store. Tap only on go and store.
Okay, light tap. Go to the heavy tap store. No, still heavy taps. Go to the heavy tap store. Is that closer?
Closer. The main stress is usually on the most important words. Go to the store. Feel that rhythm. It forces you to notice that it's irregular.
Yeah. And if you find yourself tapping on every single word, that's your signal.
That's your signal. You're probably sounding a bit robotic, yeah. You need to find the main beats.
Okay, this is super helpful. Which leads us perfectly into actually putting this into practice. We know the what's and the why, now for the how.
Actionable practice tips. Because knowing the theory is one thing.
Doing it daily is another. So we pulled 3 key strategies from the sources for weaving this smooth speak stuff into your routine. Tip 1.
Shadowing. Simple concept, incredibly powerful.
How does it work?
You listen to a short audio clip, could be from a movie, a news report, even listening back to bits of this deep dive.
Okay.
And you repeat what the speaker says immediately after them, maybe even trying to talk along with them slightly delayed.
Like an echo.
Kind of, yeah. But the key is not to focus on understanding every word.
What do you focus on?
The music. Match their speed, their rhythm, their intonation. Where does their voice go up or down? Where do you hear sounds linking? Where do you hear reductions? Mimic the sound, not just the words.
Got it. Focus on the music, mimic the flow. Tip 2.
Recording and comparison. This one takes a bit of bravery.
Uh-oh. Why bravery?
Because most of us don't love hearing our own voice, but it's maybe the fastest way to pinpoint problems.
Okay, so what do?
You take a sentence or two from an audio source, something spoken by a native speaker you want to emulate. Record yourself saying the same sentence.
Right.
Then listen back, first to the original, then to your recording. Compare them directly.
What am I listening for?
Where does your version sound different? Is it slower overall? Are there noticeable pauses or stops between words where the original speaker linked them smoothly?
Ah, so finding the disconnects.
Exactly. Maybe you're pronouncing a final consonant too hard when it should link. Maybe you're missing those little Y or W glides between vowels we talked about. The comparison makes it obvious.
It's probably quite revealing. You suddenly realize your mouth is actively fighting against these efficiency traits.
Oh, it often is, yeah. Habits are hard to break.
Okay, that makes sense. Recording and comparing. And tip 3, this one seems to tie back to the linking idea.
Yes, it does. Focus on chunks, not individual words.
Chunks, like phrases.
Exactly. Common, fixed, or semi-fixed phrases where the linking and reduction patterns are pretty standard.
So instead of practicing, how is it going?
Right. Stop practicing those 5 separate blocks. Practice the whole chunk. How's it going?
How's it going?
Practice it until that linked unit, how's it going, just rolls off the tongue as one smooth piece.
How's it going? Okay. Or like, what do you mean?
Yeah, it becomes, what do you mean?
Yeah.
Practice that whole phrase until it feels like a single item, not 4 separate words you have to assemble on the fly.
What do you mean? Okay, practice common chunks until they become automatic units.
Exactly. It builds muscle memory for these common connections.
Those are 3 really solid practical tips. Shadowing, recording, comparing, and chunking.
And ultimately, I think the main message cutting across all the sources is this. Achieving smooth speech isn't about reaching some kind of theoretical perfection where every sound is correct.
Right. It's not about hitting every single sound perfectly.
No, it's more about accepting and then imitating how natural speech actually works with all its reductions and linkages, knowing when and how native speakers take those efficiency shortcuts.
It comes down to practice, right?
Yeah.
Consistent listening, consistent imitation.
Consistent listening and committed practice, that's the path. Not chasing an impossible ideal of perfect syllable articulation.
Okay, now here's something really interesting, kind of pulling the rhythm and reduction ideas together for a final thought. Since English is stress-timed, and we rush the unimportant words to hit the main beat, theoretically, you could reduce or link almost everything that isn't absolutely essential for the core meaning, couldn't you?
In theory, yeah. It's all about priorities in the message, what absolutely needs to be clear.
So here's a challenge for you, the listener. As you go into your next English conversation, try this little mental experiment.
Yeah.
Before you speak a sentence, quickly identify maybe the 2 or 3 key words that carry, say, 90% of the meaning you want to convey.
The absolute core message words.
Yeah. And then challenge yourself. Focus on hitting those words clearly, right on the beat. Give them the stress. And consciously allow everything else, the little function words around them, to link up, reduce, and just flow quickly.
Focus on delivering the punch, not the padding.
Exactly. Deliver the
Yeah.
punch, let the padding connect naturally. See how that changes the flow.
That's a fantastic exercise, a real key to unlocking that natural rhythm.
Absolutely. Well, thank you for joining us for this deep dive into finding your natural English flow. Hopefully this gives you some tools to connect your words and maybe lose that robot voice.
Go practice those links and reductions. We'll see you next time.